All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Shalom to you brothers out there, pushing this truth. But basically, I just want to get into a little quick sit down about First Kings and with Queen Sheba and Solomon. So I'm gonna just read from verse 1 on down until we get to the money. And the Queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord. She came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bear spices, and very much gold, and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not. And when the Queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom, and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his accent by which he went up into the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. And she said to the king, It was a true report that I heard in my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Now I'm gonna stop right there for a quick minute. Back in our holy land, man, like we've always had wisdom, and the scriptures tell you in Deuteronomy, let the scriptures be the wisdom unto the nations. The Solomon already had 1,000 wives. So for the fact that the Queen of Ethiopia, you know what I mean, to come up and to actually hear of this wisdom, and for her to actually inquire Solomon, proves that his wisdom, not even his wisdom, you know, an Israelite's wisdom, man, it supersedes that of this world, yo. Because like you brothers know, we on your daily stroll, man. Like I said in my other video, man, people can sense your spirit, and you don't gotta approach these women, man. Like they'll always come to you if you carry yourself correctly. A lot of brothers always talking about, you know, how they can't get women, or they stuck up. Man, that is true, but sometimes you actually just gotta show them that they ain't shit. You know, and even though Solomon actually had these things in person, your spirit, man, it'll do a lot. It'll do a lot to, especially to Eve, man. Eve can actually sense your spirit, bro. So it's like Queen Sheba saw the wisdom, and that's why she came to Solomon. But let me keep going. Howbeit, I believe it's not the words which until I came, and mine heart had seen it, and behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceeded the fame which I heard. Happy are thy man, happy are these servants, which stand continually before thee, and that hear thy wisdom. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because thee love the Lord Israel forever. Therefore made he thee king to do judgment and justice. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and of spices, very great store, and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these which the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And the navy of Haram, they brought gold from Ophir, however you pronounce it, and brought in from Ophir a great plenty of almug trees and precious stones. And the king made of the almond trees pillars for the house of the Lord, and for the king's house harps also, and psalteries for singers. There came no such almug trees, nor were seen until this day. And King Solomon gave unto the Queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, besides that which Solomon gave her for his royal bounty. So she turned and went to her own country, she and her servants. Now, I'm gonna stop right there for today, man. Actually, not for today, for this quick little segment, but I want to bring that out, man, to you know, any brother out there that's having trouble dealing with these goddamn E's and shit, bro. I mean, whether you're dealing with a foreign concubine woman or your woman of the tribes, man, just remember Solomon. When you walk in the ways of the Lord, bro, that spirit and wisdom is going to shine bright. And wherever you go, man, it's gonna carry itself. So I'm gonna stop right there for a little minute, and I'm gonna Go into something else real quick. Alright, we back at it, man. I just want to give a quick little history lesson on this real quick. Just going into the Moorish Empire, which, you know what I'm saying, I was trying to call them Africans and shit. But brothers in the truth, we know it's Israel. But I'm gonna just skim through all this information, man. I know it's a lot, and I just want to give you brothers a quick history lesson on when the Sicilians and the Celts, the Vikings, what was the other tribes, man? It was kind of like the Crips and Bloods we have now, man. We've always had some type of, I don't know, little sects of gangs and shit. But let me just hop into it, man, because there's a lot of information. Variants of the term have been used by many Europeans since ancient times as a general description for indigenous Africans. Contrary to popular belief, the term is not synonymous with Islamic or any specific Arab or African religion, civilization, or ethnicity. The origin of the English term Moor is the Greek word, I don't know what that say, or marvo, which literally means black, blackened, or charred, has long been used to describe black or very dark things, such as Mavri Dalasa, which refers to the Black Sea, or Mavri Spilia, which means black cave. Ancient Greeks used the term to describe complexion of Africans, and Greeks use marvo to refer to Africans, etc. Now, it's a lot of information, man. If you gotta pause it to read this little section right here, then you can. Basically, it's just going into what the word Moor means. It just means black, man. And we know that the black Jews fled into Africa in 70 AD, which is hence why the Jews are always confused with the Hamites. That's their biblical term. And we already know that the Hellenists are actually Israelites who took on Greek customs, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to some history with some misconceptions about the etymology. Contrary to popular belief, the English word Moor does not descend from Almoravid, the name of the dynasty that controlled much of present-day Morocco, Mauritania, and southern Spain from 1040 to 1147 AD. Almoravid is actually the angelicized version of the Arabic name Al-Murabitan, which roughly means those who are ready to defend. As aforementioned, the Latin and Greek versions of the word Moor were used several centuries prior to the existence of the Almoravid dynasty. According to Arab historians, during the dynasty's reign, the Almoravids were not even native to Africa, but from Arabia. So I'm gonna go ahead and touch on this real quick because I haven't looked at the specific word itself, but from personal experience, I've actually saw this in my history books concerning that they try to put the Moors as actually Arabs, because since a lot of Israelite Moors converted to Islam, you know how these elite scholars, they try to whitewash everything and make they're literally making everybody like every other ethnicity but Israel. So of course there's going to be a misconception about the etymology, because the word itself means black, but of course you have other black nations, so people can easily get that confused and say, oh well, Arabs are black too, etc., etc. But of course you're going to artifacts and history, you clearly see that that's not true. Moors in ancient and medieval European history, the ancient Romans thoroughly documented the lives of indigenous, I'm going to just say Israelites, to whom they commonly refer to as Moors. By the 4th century AD, the Roman army heavily recruited Moors for their exceptional skill in battle. One such Moorish general, Arnilanus, as described in the Epitome of Caesar Ribus. These names are hard. And he was so skilled that he was made emperor in the Roman province of Moesia the Balkan Peninsula, and for 4 months at a time. I'm gonna go into that real quick because he was actually described as he was a Roman general described as a Moor, and I'm gonna go into that real quick after this section. Other skilled Israelites were made Catholic patron saints, such as the popular Saint Meridius in Latin, as described in the Passio Maturum. Oh my God. Iconicium. The Passion of the Martyrs of Agonium by French Bishop Saint Curious. According to the text, Saint Maurice lived around 286 AD and was believed to be a part of the Theban legion of Egyptian Christians who served in the Roman army under his command. Saint Maurice's brigade was supposedly decimated for disobeying orders to kill Christians in Roman Helvetia. The oldest known physical representation of him, however, was not created until 1281 AD. Alright, man, basically you had a lot of Israelites persecuting other Israelites for either not following the scriptures, basically just being a Pharisee and Sadducee, man, kind of like Paul. And he was going around killing Christians and Jews. So this history in itself actually shows you, it actually links up with the scriptures. Like, the scriptures is not it's not a fable. It's literally it's an actual history book of eschatology and morality and order, like I always say. And according to history, man, you've always had Israelites persecuting other Israelites, trying to be seen of men, most likely. And not actually looking into the whole matter. Now let me see if I can get this history real quick. Let's see. I'm gonna go back real quick and get all this info. Alright, here you go. Alright, basically, like I said earlier, man, that Roman general, Aemilianus, as you can see, the document clearly tells you he was in Moor by race. Alright. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that document real quick. There we go. And this is you can actually look this up on Google, but under these men, Milanius II and Moasia was made imperator, against whom both advanced and near Intermana were murdered by their own army, having been born on the island Menin, which is now called Gerba. But Amelius in his 4th month was defeated near Spoletium, or a bridge which is said to have taken its name from his destruction of Seguin Ari, between Auriculum and Narnia. But it was positioned in the middle of the area between Spoletium and the city of Rome. He was, moreover, a Moor by race, warlike yet not reckless. He lived 50 less 3 years. Basically showing you, man, we always had Israelite generals. Just like the scriptures say, man, we come in the form of all things. So we were everywhere, man, and there's so much history that they have hid with our nation, man. But let me get back into this real quick, and I'm gonna just finish this up, man, because it's a lot of info. And if you gotta pause it, then you can do that real quick. Alright, let me see. Alright, royalty and nobility. European Moors were just not servants and talented employees in royal courts, but also royal nobles. Perhaps the most famous of all was Alessandro de' Medici, Duke of Pian, Duke of Florence, who was commonly called Il Moro, Italian for the Moor. In his day, he was officially recognized as the son of the most powerful Lorenzo II de' Medici, an unknown Israelite woman. Alessandro was the last Medici to rule Florence. Having assumed the throne at the age of 19, he commissioned his construction of the Fortezza de Basso, a massive fortress in the historic center of town, as well as other fortresses around town. Purported to have had many enemies, he was assassinated by his own cousin, Lorenzino de' Medici. As you can see, it's clearly He has Negroid features with an afro, long nose. Probably, he can probably be considered of the northern tribes, so-called Latinos and Native Americans. Well, some of them, and those are scattered. And as you can see, there's more ancient pictures of black nobility. And of course, you have us in the royal courts, man. Now, I guarantee you, in the movies, they're gonna make all these characters white, but as you can see, they're super dark. Like, you can't even see this guy's lips right here. That's how dark he is. All right. Some Moors who had converted to Christianity in the Iberian Peninsula in the 1500s also became prominent figures in society. As shown in the painting below that depicts a busy scene in Lisbon, Alfama Harbor, the man mounted on the horse, which is him, and the foreground appears to be of the highest social status of anyone in the scene. The red cross on his cape most likely represents membership of the Order of Santiago, an Iberian military knighthood that dates to the 12th century AD. It is indeed documented that several Israelites have been admitted to the order, including Luis Perez de Pedro da Silva and Joao de Sa Penasco, who was described in a 1547 royal court document as a Homen Preto Cavaliero de Mina Casa, a black knight man in my house. Basically, as you can see, he has his horse right here, this little cape. And I did a little sit down on this about the color purple, man. A lot of priests had the color purple to show high status, and the horses were actually used for high status back then. Y'all can pause and read that, man. That's just more history on a bunch of Israelite generals. Of course, they were always referred to as Africans, man, even if they had a so-called Spanish name. But if you got to pause that, you can read that real quick. On my last section, I want to go ahead and get into the musicians. As Afro mentioned, Moors frequented the courts of European royalty, not merely as servants, but as skilled employees. Perhaps no other skilled workers are highly valued to the ruling class as musicians and entertainers. According to the UK National Archives, Scotland, King James employed several Israelite drummers and choreographers in 1505. King James treasurers accounted also recorded monetary payments to several black women, including Black Eileen, a Black Madden, Black Margaret, 2 black ladies, and a Eleanor the Black Moor. King James is also a Moor, to let y'all know. Similarly, English King Henry I want to say 12th, I don't know how to read Roman numbers, and King Henry the 13th, I guess, had Israelite employees. The most famous was John Blank, a musician who was paid on a daily basis, as noted in the treasurer of the Chamber's account. This image can be seen on the UK National Archives. Westminster Tournament Scroll of Henry the 14th, shown at the right. The archives asserted that it was perhaps one of the most important royal galleys, suggesting the high regard for John Blank. Let's see what else we got. And I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all these little screenshots real quick. And y'all can read that, man. Basically, these are the black coats of arms. It just gives you a little history behind it. And yeah, man, I was just doing a sit down today, bro, because the spirit got put on me, man. I just want to go into a little history. And this is why a lot of Sicilians in Italy and even over here, man, they have brown eyes, black hair, because when you go into the documents, man, it tells you, man, our Israelite genius was so strong, man, we almost wiped out the other races when we went into that land. And basically, the point of this video actually was to actually show you guys, people waking up, like, bro, first of all, for one, okay, we're not Africans, but we do have Israelites in Africa, all right? But for two, we are nobility, man. You are of royal descent, literally. Okay, they have hid this information from you for centuries, man. Not even years, but centuries, dude. And which I need to, man. It's just basic research, man. And this is right here. This right here. Once you got this knowledge, carry yourself, man. Like these women gonna come to you. If you reading the scriptures right and you following in the Lord's ways, man, like You're gonna go through affliction, but trust me, you will win. Cause with the Most High by your side, bro, you cannot move. You cannot lose. So, yeah, man, just get into a little history, y'all. Just want to give y'all that real quick, and y'all have a blessed day, man. Shalom.